What's going on, my broskiis? My name is Toadskii, back again, here to bring you guys yet another One Piece Treasure Cruise video. And today we're here to talk about my own personal teams for the upcoming treasure map versus Luffy and Ace. Now I know a lot of people always like to see these types of videos to see what I come up with for the treasure map, and of course what I come up with in this video is not always going to be the exact same teams that you guys will see that I'll actually use in the upcoming treasure map. But of course, if there are any changes, I'll likely have a playthrough video of me using the teams that you see in this video in the actual treasure map, and you know, we can talk about changes from that point onwards. But I guess without further ado, let's just jump into it. Of course, so if you guys did not see my treasure map Sugofest pulls, I highly advise doing that. If you guys didn't see it, obviously spoiler alert, we did end up getting Kizaru and Oniguma, which is great. So those are going to be great assets to our team creations. First thing is first, with team building, I always like to start with the final boss team, because you want to be like just putting all of your best point boosters on the final boss, which in this case here is going to be Luffy and Ace. So first thing is first, we're definitely going to be using the combination of these point boosters. So we're going to have a point booster friend captain, point booster subs to give us the highest points possible just with these three characters. But then from that point onwards, we kind of have to build for the actual content, of course. So of course, Ace Akainu is going to be great here because Luffy and Ace is a strength character. We want to be running Akainu as our captain. We're going to be using Ace versus Ivankov, but we'll get to that in a little bit. Okay, so let's go ahead and break this down. So first of all, Boa Hancock on stage 4 gives us 5 turns of special bind. So we need to find a unit that gets rid of special bind, and in this case, this Luffy is just the best unit for it. Unfortunately, this Luffy isn't boosted by the versus Akainu character, but like it's the best way forward. It's the only real way that we can get around that special bind. So even though he isn't boosted, it shouldn't matter too much. So we have to deal with a chain lock as well. So we don't have a way to get around that chain lock. So we probably are just going to tank it, honestly. I mean, we could potentially bring a unit that removes it, like we could bring this King, for example. King's not a terrible choice, but at the same time, we don't have a way to get rid of block orbs either. That kind of sucks actually. And then after turn 1, 4 turns of despair is inflicted. We could potentially use like Rayleigh support and like just store 1 turn. That's probably the best way forward, you know. That's actually probably what we're gonna do. So let's do it in this order here, because King will actually go ahead and change adjacent slots into quick. So you know, that's fine. That actually works out completely fine. We can use King turn 1. He lasts for 3 turns, I believe, his attack boost. Yeah, it lasts for 3 turns. So we don't want to carry his attack boost into the last stage, because Kizaru is also an attack booster. Yeah, boost attack of Shooter and Powerhouse by 2.25. So we definitely want his boost over King's, even though King's is the same multiplier. With him, you have to hit past the 12th hit in the combo chain. So I'll use him turn 1, store 1 turn. The despair's inflicted, Rayleigh support gets rid of that. That should work okay in my head, okay? So that should work. And then on the final stage, we get inflicted with burn. I believe Kizaru gets rid of that. Yes, he does. We also are given 3 turns of chain coefficient reduction. Akainu is a chain locker. Barrier we have to deal with. On the revive, it doesn't matter. I think we're pretty much good from there. Actually, Oniguma removes despair, doesn't he? Yeah, he removes despair and he removes blindness. He does 12 hits of random type lists. Yeah, so he gets rid of the barrier for us, essentially. So yeah, honestly, I'm not really too worried about it. This team should be okay for getting through this content. Shouldn't be too bad. I mean, we've got 2 Kizaru, so you can use 1 on stage 4 for an attack boost there, and obviously 1 for stage 5 for another attack boost, plus removing that burn. So yeah, not really too worried about it. That should work okay. But now let's go ahead and focus in on the other stages, okay? Now, if you guys have not seen how I do team building, I preferably like to build these battle rush teams, these 4 mini bosses. I typically like to build them with speed in mind, so I want to get through it as quick as I possibly can without having to worry about high point boosters or anything, because if you congest all your teams of just high point boosters, yes, you will get more points, obviously, but it makes the grind of treasure map more tedious, and I'm not all about that. I want to be grinding it as much as I possibly can, and getting through each of the levels quicker and quicker means that I get more points with my Luffy and Ace team, because I just congest all my high point boosters here, speed farm the rest of them to get to those high point boosting boss fights. That's the way that I like to do it. It works quite effectively, and I don't think I'm going to be changing too much from that. So let's go ahead and talk about Buggy. Now, Buggy is a very, very easy fight. Only 100,000 health. He has an attack boost and he gives you bind, but that's fine. Like with sockets, you just completely get rid of that. So I'm going to be using treasure map Enel. Now I know a lot of people are going to say, oh, why don't you just go ahead and use Legend Enel, who is a higher point booster. And I mean, that is obviously not a bad idea. I can't even see Enel. There he is. That's not a bad idea, but I just feel like this Enel is just going to be easier because I don't have to worry about continuously hitting with this Enel. And if I do use him, I probably have to hit it perfect and then let another character attack. Just overall, it's a lot faster just to use use this NL compared to the other one. Plus, when we do reach the final boss stage against Buggy, I can just let his normal attack go through and that can wave clear Buggy. Or, of course, we're going to be using his special, the 2 NL specials, to give the huge damage to Buggy, which should last us a pretty long time, actually, and that's basically all we need, right? Just that alone. And we can figure out about putting the point boosters on this team a little bit later, but as long as we have the 2 NLs, I'm not too worried about it. Croc, we are going to be using another speed farm team, and of course this is a Dex boss, so it's a no-brainer. We're going to be using our speed team with Zorojiro. And also another thing about Croc is that he gives us 5 turns of attack down, and when you kill him, he does 30,000 damage to your team. So Jozu's great here. He removes the attack down, and he does damage reduction as well, so he is like legit a perfect character. Now, in mind with this, I'm going to be putting Ace on the team as well, because I'm not planning to use Ace as a captain from here on out, so I'm just going to put him on the team just for higher points, of course. And then from here, we get given tandem slots. I guess like we could just use like the Kawamatsu because he's an attack booster for Slasher and Free Spirit, so that's actually pretty good. And I guess from there, I mean, like we could put this Law character because he's another strength unit that could work with the team. Like this is actually a pretty solid team. Get through it without too many problems. Use the 2 Zoro double special activations to get through the first 4 stages, and then on the last stage we just launch a bunch of specials, and Ace should be ready, and that'll give us like more than enough damage. And I mean, I think Jozo should be ready by the time we reach the last boss stage as well. It'll be pretty close. We'll have to see about that. We may have to do some finagling about that, but we'll see how we go anyways. We've got Jinbei coming up next. So for Jinbei, 900,000 health, he will have Rainbow Shield and Resilience. So the best character for this is Sengoku. Now, in terms of clearing this as fast as we possibly can, I am going to be using Kaido as the captain. Now, I plan to just use Kaido, like double Kaido, and then use the Moby Dick ship, and then just doing auto farming. Like, just let the game run in auto. When I reach the final boss stage, then I just go ahead and launch the specials of these characters and just win. So with Sengoku in mind, we get rid of the Rainbow Shield and we get rid of the Resilience completely. So that's great. So from there, after we use the Sengoku, from there on out, we can just launch the 2 Kaido specials, the 2 Kaido super types, which we can launch if we use the Moby Dick ship, and that's basically GG from there. So like basically all other characters on this team can be whatever we want, but as long as we have that main core of characters, that's fine. Now against Whitebeard I think is going to be the most difficult boss fight to get through. He's got 1 million health, gives you block orbs, 3 turns paralysis. He has a 3-hit perfect barrier, is it 3 hit? No, 3 turn, 4 hit perfect barrier, should I say. Super annoying, and he has a delay protector. Now, I typically always like to run V1 Kaido on my teams for treasure map, okay? So what we're going to be doing is we're going to be using double V1 Kaido. So we want to be building a team predominantly of like powerhouse and striker characters. But what else happens again? We get given block orbs, of course, and paralysis. So we do need a paralysis remover. Either one of these guys works well. He is a driven cerebral. Enel is a driven striker. Okay, so if we're using V1 Kaido, then Enel is like a perfect fit for that team, actually. That's really, really good. And I guess from there, like, we just need some type of way to get rid of block orbs. We could just use this guy right here. He's a driven slasher. He's not boosted by Kaido, but the fact that he can change those block orbs into matching, I think it's for strength, dex, and quick only, right? Yeah, only strength, dex, and quick characters. So he himself, the 2 Kaidos will get it. But that's fine. We just want like characters that can get around the debuffs and then let Kaido's end of turn damage just kill the boss. So that's all we really care about. I guess if we were being like super crazy, we could potentially just use like V1 Law and then just let Kaido's end of turn damage get through. But at the end of the day, once we get to really high nav levels, then that's not really going to be an effective strategy. So yeah, we'll just run double V1 Kaido. We'll use this to get rid of the block orbs, this to get rid of the paralysis, and then that's basically it. And then just hit our perfects to break the barrier, and then let Kaido's end of turn damage kill him. That should work, I think, without too many problems. But at this point, we've got basically the core of our team built, and we want to try and put the rest of these characters on the rest of our teams, okay? So, I mean, for this quick team here, we can just put on some other quick characters, like this works quite well. We're using King here, which is fine. This Sanji can go here. I mean, this team really doesn't matter. Like, we could just put, like, all these other characters that we're not using on it. This guy could fit here. What's he actually do again? He's a shooter free spirit character. Blue shield and threshold and attack booster, that's fine. We've got Hannibal can go in this team as well. This Whitebeard actually works pretty well, gives us color affinity to powerhouse and free spirit characters. We also have this guy who's driven cerebral. He's an attack booster, he could go here. Toy Soldier is a free spirit shooter. Doesn't really do too much, but it's a huge point booster, so I put him on that team. And Komurasaki is a Free Spirit Cerebral. Doesn't really fit on this team per se, but again, we are just using Kaido to do the heavy lifting here, so I think I'll just put him on this team for now. Not really too phased about it. You know, Komurasaki isn't going to be doing that much damage at all. We just want the Kaido to do the heavy lifting, and we do have this Luffy and Ace, which we haven't put on any of our teams yet, but I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. But, you know, if you don't have too many characters to put in your teams, this Luffy and Ace is really good. Shoot a Free Spirit Captain 4 times with a matching slot. You get 1.2 health, 10% damage reduction, Bind Despair removal, Own Orb into matching, 2 times Rainbow attack boost, and a Free Spirit Shooter 1.75 color affinity. This is a great free-to-play unit. So if you guys are lacking a good captain, this is a pretty good choice. You could potentially use him as a captain versus this Whitebeard fight once you do get him maxed out. Probably something that I would advise, actually. So now that we've done all that, let's actually start building for the Ivankov boss fight. Now, we want to be building a team of predominantly strength and quick. You want to be using strength and quick characters. Those are the only characters that receive the 10 turns of cooldown at the preemptive of stage 1. Make sure to do that. So we are, of course, going to be running the same core of characters of running the 2 Kizaru characters and also the Onigumo. Actually, we'll put Onigumo here, but for a reason we'll talk about in just a little moment. Because on stage 2 against Inazuma, who is a strength character, he has 1 million health. He gives you 99 turns of blindness. Now, there's only one character in this entire treasure map that will actually get rid of this blindness completely, and that is this Onigumo, whose special ability, as said, removes blindness completely. Now, there are no other treasure map characters here on this boosted list that outright remove blindness with a sailor effect or with a special. So without Onigumo, you will be blinded for the entire duration of the fight. So that really does suck, but you know, I'm pretty sure that's how it works. I don't know if you kill Inazuma and then this just gets removed. I'm pretty sure it stays for the entire duration of the fight. So that really sucks. You're also inflicted with 5 turns of despair, goes down to 2 turns after sockets, and then 5 turns of damage threshold. This Onigumo is great because he basically counters this entire stage. He does the despair removal, and he does the blindness. We do have to deal with the threshold though. So the way that we're going to deal with the threshold, obviously, was going to be this Kuzan character. He fits very, very well for this. So let's go ahead and inject Kuzan into this team. And then Kuzan, of course, is going to be giving us not only that, but he says that if our captain is shooter or free spirit, we do get a 2 times attack boost. Now, the main captain that we're going to be using here, as mentioned a little earlier, is going to be Ace. Ace is going to be a really, really good captain here. So that's basically it. We have the Aokiji for the threshold, and we have the Onigumo for the despair and the blindness. Now, for Ivankov, 2 million health, we get given blow away for 5 turns, the bottom right character. So this character in this position right here, where Onigumo is blown away for 5 turns, which is typically a bad thing, but Onigumo is a slasher powerhouse, so he isn't even boosted by Ace's captain effect at all. So him being blown away, plus we use his special in the previous stage, so it really doesn't matter anyway. We also given 2 turns of special reverse. Ace's captain effect outright resists special reverse. I think it's by 10 turns, which is great. And we're given 5 turns of paralysis. Now, the Kizaru actually just outright removes the paralysis for us, which is actually pretty good. However, one thing about this team is that we really lack strength damage. The final boss is a dex character. We need a good strength unit to give us some good damage here. And honestly, we're just going to put Luffy on this team anyway. Luffy's going to be a really good choice because he gives us a chain boost, and he also changes some slots around, so we can use Luffy's special to get rid of the paralysis, make sure strength slot on the Ace is going to be there, so that when we launch Ace's special, we get the chain boundary effect. So as long as that's going to be active, I'm not really too worried. And with that, that should be it. That should be 100% it in terms of the teams that should be able to take on this treasure map. So this is what I'm going to be going with, and as I said, if there's going to be any changes to these teams, I'll talk about it in my actual video when we actually go through the treasure map. So expect that to happen. But thank you so much for watching the video, and hopefully you learned something and get a little bit of insight as to what you should be doing for team building. And of course, this is just the way that I team build. As I said, I like to team build for speed. If you want to team build for points, the teams that you would be seeing would be completely different, that's for sure. But hopefully you understand what I'm going through here, and hopefully your treasure map goes really, really well, guys. But that's going to end this video today. Thank you so much for watching, and if you guys did enjoy it, make sure to go ahead and hit the like button. And if you want to stay up to date with all the content that I post, including more One Piece Treasure Cruise content, make sure to hit the subscribe button down below. But on that, guys, I'll see you guys within the next video.